All right. Let's call the Commissioners' meeting to order at 10 o'clock. Those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do we have any public here for comment for items not appearing on today's agenda? All right, seeing none, any additions to the agenda from the board?
None?
No? All right. If the meeting minutes are all right, we'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meeting held June 3rd.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the meeting held on June 3rd. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We only have one proclamation this morning. It's out of the ordinary for June. Usually it's 2 or 3, but this is an important one. We're proclaiming June as Elder Abuse Prevention Month in Center County, and we have Quentin and Sherry from our Aging Department here to give us more details. Oh, yeah, why don't you come to the side table? Get CNET and Tim and Gary a little better angle.
Oh my
Whoop.
goodness.
We had somebody tall in that one. Yeah, yeah. That'll be a bit of a project. We might have to have Jonathan help you. There we go. The judge did it instead. Well, thanks for coming, and we'd definitely like to hear more background on this. We had children and youth in here last week, and now kind of at the other end of the age scale.
So we have 3 full-time protective service workers, and what our protective service workers do is they investigate allegations of caregiver neglect, self-neglect, financial exploitation, sexual abuse, abandonment, physical abuse, emotional abuse. We currently are hiring for one of the positions right now, and basically what our workers do is first they determine if the allegations are true, and that if the person is in need of protective services. If the person is in need of protective services, then we work with the older adult to set up a plan to mitigate or eliminate the risk to the older adult. So we also do on-call, which basically we have somebody available and a supervisor 24 hours, 7 days a week on all the holidays to take reports. Back in 2013, for the entire year, we had 73 reports. In 2023, we had 309. Last year, we had 354 reports that come in. And it's the same across Pennsylvania, that every year you're looking at an increased percentage of the reports that are coming in. There is some question about why it's increasing. We believe some of it is recognition. And then, of course, there is certainly the concern that perhaps the abuse could be increasing as well. So one of the interesting things that happened for the first time ever in protective service is since protective services was created, self-neglect has always been the number one allegation that has been reported. As of this year, the Secretary of Aging announced a couple months ago that has been overtaken by financial exploitation.
Oh.
So right now, financial exploitation is the number one report of allegations of abuse for older adults. And that could be, as we all know, the people that are scamming over online or on the phones. But also what's not talked about a lot is friends and family members who are exploiting their loved ones. Sherry's going to talk a little bit about our Protective Service Task Force, which some of the things that they are doing is to help combat some of the exploitation.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
The Center County Office of Aging is a participant of the Center County Elder Abuse Task Force. The task force works to create an awareness of elder abuse, educate the community on elder abuse prevention, improve coordination between service providers and aid law enforcement, and the courts in prosecuting offenders. The task force meets quarterly. We're usually in this room. The agenda usually entails a presentation and also an update on our reports that we receive. And the task force is hosting another Scam Jam. We had done one last year. It was very successful, well received in the community. We will be having that in August on the 13th in our new building, the Community Service Building.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that, not only because of having the Scam Jam, but also opening this up to the community to see all of the services that Center County government provides for the community. So we're looking forward to that. This year, Paul Takak is sponsoring the Scam Jam, and there'll be snacks. And I do have some flyers I can share with you
good.
before we leave.
Wonderful. Anything else on the topic?
Just like I will
Board member.
reiterate what Quentin
Right.
said, we really are seeing an increase with financial, and I think it is awareness. Banks are calling us, police
Yeah.
officers are calling us. Because also with the task force, we're reaching out to all these different service providers. So we have banks, we have the DA, we have police officers, Sheriff Samsel's there. So we have a lot of representation of the community, and we're bringing this, to their just so they are aware of this, and it's been great.
I will say that the financial exploitations are getting more complex,
Yes.
and they're getting more difficult to investigate, to determine what's going on. So it is definitely a challenge to first to navigate, to figure out the exploitation, and then the biggest thing a lot of times with the scams is education. A lot of times you're not going to get the funds back. Sometimes these people aren't in the country.
Yes.
However, if we're able to educate people, and one of the things with these Scam Jams that they do is these are the latest things that they're trying to pull over on people. So it gets people educated, so then when they get the calls,
Yeah.
they're already ready for them. And I would say one of the things that is very important is if somebody is calling you about something and saying they're representing somebody, call them back at a number you know.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's really important because then you can help to verify who you're talking to.
Yeah. It is kind of disappointing here that financial exploitation has now moved into first place. I do know the scammers can be relentless, nonstop. I get so many text messages and emails from plausible sounding organizations, including theoretically the toll authority.
Yes, the new one.
Yeah. But I know for seniors, they tend to be a little more trusting. I think my mother probably would have purchased 4 or 5 extended warranties on her car back when she was alive. Just as you said, Quentin, if you receive a call from an organization you know, call that organization back on the regular line. Their area office on aging, the sheriff, local law enforcement, happy to help. I know our state and federal legislators also have some resources available. But yeah, once you send that wire transfer, you're probably not going to get that money back. So don't send the wire transfer in the first place. Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, thanks for sharing this update. It's, really concerning to think about the abuse that some people can be most, when they're in a situation where they're very vulnerable. And so I think making sure that there's awareness that this 24-hour-a-day help is available and that you can make a report, any time of the day, any day of the week. I think, as you've said, that, maybe part of it is awareness, but making sure people have that information on how to make a report, including for themselves if they feel like they're in an unsafe situation is really important. So thanks for the work you're doing is really crucial, life-saving work. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Concepcion.
Yeah,
Commissioner Dershowitz?
just a question. Are there free services or services that you offer, particularly to seniors, for whether it's spam filters or, I'm sure there's technology out there that kind of separates the wheat from the chaff as far as your emails. I know through, I think I have Verizon, there's a little thing on there that says, potential spam or whatever. I think that would be helpful for a lot of seniors if they were more educated as to, what some of the capabilities of technology is. Because as terrible as it is that these folks are being preyed upon, there are somewhat remedies to let people know that some of the calls, or incoming calls particularly, are not necessarily legitimate, so.
We have resources in our office that we do provide, especially when we have a case of financial exploitation. And we, provide that to them at that time. And also during the Scam Jam, they provide a lot of the numbers that you can call to block these calls from coming in, how you can verify, how you can also access your credit report to see if there's any unusual activity. So the Scam Jam will provide a lot of that to the community. And we have that information as well that we can provide from our office.
I would think that it might be useful if we could post something maybe on our website that would indicate, some of the links to the technology, because
I can talk
a
to
lot of
JJ.
folks are not going to come to the Scam Jam, and a lot of
Correct.
folks, and if I've already been scammed, it's like putting a burglar alarm in after
Yeah.
I've been robbed. I think that because, as Mark indicated, it's everywhere. I mean, I don't think you can open up your inbox and not see something. It's like, what creepy stuff is this?
Yes.
And then AI has taken it to a whole other level.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We're hearing horror stories of, a lot of times a popular scam is to say you're a grandson or a granddaughter
Yes.
in trouble.
I know my
Yeah.
parents have.
Now
done
they're
that
able to
one.
mimic voices,
Yeah.
so it becomes very believable.
Yep.
I just
Yeah,
don't know
I
where
think
we
that's a great
where we
idea.
take this.
I mean, the AG's really involved too, and I know they'll be representing at the Scam Jam as well. And some of our reports, we have to report to the AG, so they're really working hard to figure out ways. But the scammers are very savvy, and they have technology that they can just.
Yeah.
They move around and they're very clever. And even the records that we review, the financial records, like they're written, checks to somebody and then they get deposited. And it's just crazy how it has all these little
Yeah.
paths of going somewhere that you'll never find.
I think the real message is that if you see something that you're not familiar with, don't open it, don't deal with it, just assume. And if you
Yeah.
get a phone call, make sure you call back, and if somebody's in trouble, you better double check with the police to make sure that.
Yeah.
And they understand the population that they're targeting are vulnerable adults that are alone, their spouse may have
Yeah.
passed away. So they're using that vulnerability to really prey on them. And they isolate them from family and friends and
And they do their research.
yes.
That's one of the big things now is they're doing research and background on people that they're scamming so that they are more believable.
And with the phone spoofing, it really looks like the call is coming in from, say, the Center County Sheriff.
Yes.
And as Steve was mentioning, this district attorney and attorney general are happy to help out, but generally they're getting involved after the money's gone.
And that's kind of, we're basically education and then prevention of further exploitation. That is really what we're doing, is we're trying to get people to not get exploited by the task force and by education through protective service and through our case management. But also, if somebody is being exploited, what can we do to stop the exploitation and to prevent it moving forward?
Well, it's a unique type of crime, because normally if somebody breaks into your car, it's a physical person doing a physical thing here locally. I mean, you could be impacted by somebody in Albania who you have no idea
No
how
way
to.
to-
Unfortunately, though, there are people that have physically appeared in some of our older adults' homes. And
That's becoming more
that's
frequent.
frightening.
I heard about a scam like that in New Jersey, yes.
That's actually happened here in Center County.
Yes, it has. And that's frightening.
What do they show up here? Kind of run through what that looks like. I'm just curious.
Well, they'll, make a relationship on email or by, texting, and they'll build that up where they're building their trust and they're coming to their home. And then we have one person that has given away a lot of money. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. And this individual or the group or whoever, they've actually come to his home. They've taken his gold. He had gold.
Wow.
And thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And they make them feel that they're going to get in trouble if they tell anybody. so that.
They're so
uh,
savvy.
And then they're able to
Yeah.
come and then exploit the person.
So,
Or they think they're gonna get the money back, like they're investing it
Yes,
in something,
right. Right.
that they're gonna get this, large sum of money
Yeah.
back. And like some of our individuals think they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, that they're helping people, and
And when they do get exploited, sometimes because of being duped, they don't tell anybody.
yeah, they're embarrassed.
they're embarrassed.
They're
Right.
embarrassed about it.
Yeah, we've had a case like that.
Yeah. So, obviously, first, as Steve says, don't even click on it, don't read it. But if you're like, well, this sounds like a good investment opportunity, but I've never heard of these people, well, talk to your bank, talk to Center County government, talk to local law enforcement.
Is
Proceed
this,
slowly.
yep. Is this something, is this real or is this a scam? We get
Yeah.
people call us regularly, hey, I got this phone call. And then we're able to talk to them about it. And,
Yeah.
well, did you call? Or it's something obvious, we're like, yeah, that's not real.
Yeah.
And getting the police involvement early on is really advisable, which they're resistant because of the embarrassment and
Right.
because of fear of what the repercussions can be as a result of that. But we really encourage them to call the police because it can really kind of nip it in the bud before it escalates.
And also, the more reports they get, the more they can do, too. So
Right.
if they're getting reports.
Right.
Sometimes you will hear that they're able to bust some of these rings that
Right.
are in different areas.
And then, of course, you have the even more heartbreaking situations where they're being exploited by a family or a close personal friend. as
Unfortunately,
well.
that's pretty high.
And that's usually taking them to the bank, opening credit cards
Yeah.
in people's names. And usually the person is either confused or very trusting
Yes.
of that person and may not even understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're getting the reports from from banks.
The banks, absolutely.
And elder neglect is another issue that your office works with, right? if
Yes,
someone
so
is simply
all
not being
areas of
cared for.
neglect, abuse, financial exploitation, abandonment, sexual abuse as well, so all of those things,
It could be in
yes.
a nursing facility, it could be somebody who's at home caring for somebody who's burnt out and not be able to do it anymore. And then, of
See a
course,
fair bit of that.
we have the people who have no supports as well.
Yeah.
We have several older adults that have no informal supports, meaning family, friends, and
Yeah.
it's amazing how many of those we come across, and it's saddening, actually.
Yeah.
Going back to our conversation about the importance of having Medicaid beds
Yes.
at our long-term care
Exactly.
facilities, that's one of the remedies to this, and if you don't have access to that, then the whole conversation's over.
Absolutely.
That's one of our tools with the bad situations where we're least restrictive, but sometimes placement's the
Yeah.
only option. If we don't have that option, we really don't have a plan B in those situations.
Because they have nobody else.
Right.
Giant shout out to Center Care and places
Yes,
like that to provide
exactly.
those services.
And the important place that Medicaid plays in.
Yeah,
you know,
and there's other
elder care.
facilities that also participate, but I know Center Care does have the larger amount of beds, but we work with all of the nursing homes, and they do have Medicaid beds as well, so.
Fortunately, we're having to sometimes place people farther away from their
Yes,
communities.
that's
Yes.
been happening more and more,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
out of county.
Great conversation, hopefully some education for the public, because this isn't just for seniors, this is for adult children, and even nowadays, as long as people live, adult grandchildren. Do we have questions from the press on the topic? No? You got some good things to work with, JJ? All right.
And I'll meet with JJ to get those resources.
All right. Unless there's anything else, I think we can take a motion.
I will move that we adopt Proclamation 32 of 2025 proclaiming June 2025 as Elder Abuse Prevention Month in Center County.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt proclamation number 32 proclaiming June as Elder Abuse Prevention Month in Center County. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Come on up.
Awesome.
JJ's ready to help with the picture. Thankfully, this time we're not 3 rows deep. Come on over and center on Bellefonte.
Everybody smile, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do.
Sherry.
Thank you. Yet another county department that is open 365 days a year.
Yep.
so.
24/7, 365. Yeah, thanks, Quentin. Thanks, Sherry. Moving on to contracts. Jonathan has actually several items for us.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
I'm asking for your consideration and approval of a CoStarz contract with Berkshire Systems Group to provide 24/7 elevator phone monitoring for all 4 elevators at the Community Services Building. This contract is in the amount of $280.
Great, thanks, Jonathan. Obviously, we've got a number of 24/7 shops, or at least significant after-hours departments in the building, so
Yes.
definitely see the need. Any questions on that?
Yeah, so 280 for, what was the time period on that?
1 year.
Okay.
So it's like a payphone.
In a sense. So the labor and industry requires all elevators to be, to have a phone line that you can push for help. Rather than this going nowhere, we're going to contract Berkshire to answer the
Yeah.
other
They
line.
monitor it.
That's good.
And then they will then reach out to 911 if it's a necessary emergency.
That's interesting.
All right.
Never really thought of that. That's great.
Oh,
Perfect.
is there anything else?
Okay.
We would take a motion on that one.
All right. I will move to approve the contract with Berkshire Systems Group, Inc.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Berkshire Systems Group, Inc. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. And now you have an update on the solar array at the correctional facility.
Yes, so with the purchase of the solar array at the correctional facility, I am now asking for your consideration and approval of a maintenance agreement with Solar Renewable Energy. This is a 3-year agreement for the maintenance of the solar array in the amount of $23,182. This will be for all routine maintenance. It's the same maintenance that they have done on the system since it's been installed. We will just now be responsible for paying on that maintenance.
All right, just a separate contract. And it's running less than $8,000 a year
Correct.
for something that, goodness, between reduction in energy costs, especially at the current price, and the solar renewable energy credits, oh goodness, I think that's probably worth pushing $200,000 a year by now.
Yeah, the system more than pays for itself.
Oh, I'll say. Pays for itself in the first 2 weeks by the looks of it.
Yes.
Generally, what's the maintenance that's required in a system?
So they come in, they test the inverters, the panels themselves. They will do wire testing, connections, just routine maintenance, kind of like what's done in an electrical panel. It's just on a larger scale out in the field.
How about like maintaining the glass?
So the glass would be an additional charge if a panel would break, something like that, that would revert back to us for the purchase of, which baked into the contract, we do have a cost of what those replacement parts would be.
How about maintaining the glass, if you will?
No,
obviously
that-
it's dirty and has
So
rain and such.
cleaning of the panels does revert to our staff, which we are going to get on a routine maintenance where we actually use the inmates at the correctional facility to assist us with
Okay.
cleaning that.
All right.
So we'll do that on an annual basis.
Okay,
All right.
Perfect.
great.
Great. Any questions, Commissioner
Yeah,
Concepcion?
sounds good.
All right.
I'll move to add the agreement with Solar Renewable Energy LLC to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the agreement with Solar Renewable Energy LLC to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And you got 2 more for us, John.
Yes, a couple of change orders for the community services building. The first cluster is with Ainsworth Incorporated, and this is for the conversion of the DOAS 3 unit, which is a fresh air unit located in the penthouse. That is to change it from an indoor rated to an outdoor rated unit per Center Region Code requirements. It adds an extension on the flue, and it also adds a couple of louvers. Because of where the unit is located, being that it is not a conditioned space, they are saying this is now a requirement of the unit. And then also for 3 change order credits from Ainsworth Incorporated. One is the return of the domestic water heater from the kitchen space being that we are not going to renovate the kitchen space, I felt that the water heater is not necessary. The closed loop water treatment, that was included in the project. We are asking to use our preferred vendor rather than one that the contractor was going to use from 3 hours away. And then also the removal of a sink in Office 1505. The total credit is $19,900.93. It offsets the cost of the DOAS unit.
So we're actually positive on that group of change orders?
Correct.
Oh, great.
The next change order approval is for McCrossin, and this is to add RFP and a folding grill to the marketplace. The folding grill is like a gate style that you would see in a mall at
Okay.
an office building to be able to lock the marketplace, and the FRP is the plastic paneling that will go on the wall that we can wipe down very easily if needed. This change order is in the amount of $27,238, and then also a credit for the etching of the water feature glass in the amount of $1,150 for a total change order credit of, a change order amount of $26,088.
Okay.
For a minute there, I thought we were going to be able to grill indoors.
Unfortunately,
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
No, that sounds okay.
All right. Commissioner Dershowitz?
Nope, it's fine.
All right. Then I'll move to approve capital project items 1 and 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 items for capital. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Then we have, there he is, Ryan from probation with an MOU.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
I'm here for the discussion and the approval of the memorandum of understanding with the Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts to provide grant funds to support the regional veterans court that we participate in.
great.
The grant money provided by AOPC is to reimburse the county for the program supplies to run the program. This would range anywhere from graduation supplies, training expenses, incentives, and participant assistance. The total of the grant funds for the county we anticipate $6,760, and that runs from July 31st, 25 until June of 26.
Well, thank you so much, Ryan, and we definitely appreciate the Court of Common Pleas judges and the entire court system. Center County government now offers all 4 types of specialty courts that are available to counties in Pennsylvania. The DUI court, which has been going on for several decades now, and the more recent drug court, behavioral health court, and now veterans court. And
Yep.
great to see in the Center County tradition that you're out there hustling to find some grants to help pay for it. We
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, I think the regional veterans court's been going on for about 2 years now. But that's obviously to benefit veterans that are in the court system to help them get out of this court system. So
Yeah.
it's a good program.
Yeah, Commissioner Concepcion. any comments?
Yeah, I just really appreciate that our court system is taking this on and participating in this program that can benefit veterans who, for very many different reasons could find themselves in the criminal justice system, and having some tailored experiences to help get them back on their feet is a good idea. So.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I would defer, we have the expert with us, we have Judge Marshall in the room, and if he has any comments about the overall, all the treatment courts, not just the veterans
Yeah,
court.
would you like to add something,
Yeah.
Judge
It's been my
Marshall?
privilege, this is my 3rd year of overseeing the drug treatment court, and I know all the judges appreciate the resources that you make available to us to help our citizens of Center County through all of the courts, and even outside of those specialty treatment courts. I think we're lucky here in Center County that we have the resources as judges to perhaps try some different things with people, give people opportunities when we see that they might present a good risk, so to speak, rather
Yeah.
than just incarcerating people, give them some resources, and hopefully allow them to make positive changes in their lives.
Now, one question for the judge, or maybe Ryan, do any of the courts, or I'm sure they do, what's the working together look like if somebody is in veterans court and they may have a substance abuse issue, or may have, some other issues? How do those all sort of work together?
So there really isn't any crossover per se between the different treatment courts. I think, within the Veterans Treatment Court, to use your example, a veteran who has substance abuse problems would receive services under the umbrella of the Veterans Treatment Court. They might look a little different than what they would look like in the drug court. Each of the specialty courts has criteria, and I presume that if a person who was a veteran needed a heightened level of services from the drug treatment court, for example, they would be referred to the drug treatment court rather than participating in the veterans court.
Because I think a lot of folks are unaware that these services and these programs and these courts even exist. There's, you know, it's not heavily advertised as per se, and so it's always, I think it's always important to let people know these programs are out there.
Certainly a newer way of approaching criminal justice, a more therapeutic
Yeah.
methodology rather than just incarcerating people and giving them whatever services within whatever correctional facility or state prison they're in. So it's a newer idea. I think we're having a lot of success with it, and
We are, yeah.
appreciate
And our-
the opportunity to do that.
Our recidivism rates in the county indicate that you're having success. And
Yeah.
that's very
It's a team approach too. You have a bunch of service providers that sit on the team and discuss these individual cases. So it's very connected and not disconnected. So that's the extreme benefit of being on a treatment court is you have all the service providers at one table discussing all those participants and what's the benefit for them. So works really well.
I'll just say briefly, it's a completely different mindset. You're bringing people in front of a judge with probation in the room who have been their enemies traditionally in their prior experiences. So trying to get people to understand that we've always been here to help, but now it's a more intensive team approach to help you. So it's a whole different way of thinking, and getting people to buy into that is a process, but we've been pretty successful.
and looking for positive outcomes.
Yes, absolutely.
Very much appreciate the judge's leadership on this, because I don't believe you actually get paid extra to do this. I think it's
No.
voluntary.
Just part of the job, and I'll give a shout out to Judge Oliver, who actually handles 2 or 3 full
Goodness.
programs. The Veterans
Yeah.
Court being, of course, a shared program
Yeah.
with various other counties, but Judge Oliver handles the DUI court and the behavioral health court. So she, every other Thursday, her entire day is devoted to the specialty courts.
Wow.
We appreciate the effort.
Yes, thanks again for that. Any questions from the press on this item?
Thank you.
All right, well, don't go away. Looks like we can take a vote on that.
I will move to approve the MOU with the Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the MOU with the Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Ryan.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good
And
day.
now we have Norm here from 911 for major change for the first time in 26 years.
Yeah, good morning. Excuse me. Consider approval of contract with the 911 Authority to replace a old 911 street addressing database which has been used since 1999. The 911 Authority, a State College-based company, will replace the database using Microsoft SQL. They will be adding next generation required fields, building new forms, building a new user interface, and creating reports needed for the 911 street addressing. The contract total is $12,000 for the period of June 15th through May 31st, 2026.
Thank you, Norma. Obviously, in your field, it's very important, but to explain it to the general public, street names are more common than you might think. And there have been several instances in multiple counties throughout the Commonwealth where the fire department, before these upgrades, would be dispatched to the wrong street.
Main Street?
It was the right, Main Street, Elm Street. It was the right name. It was even the right address. It was just in the wrong community.
We currently have over 79,000 addressable structures and over 5,600 different road names in Center County.
Wow, that's a lot. And of course, you got roads like Earlestown Road, which go on forever and ever and ever and ever. So I'm sure you have a lot of duplicates there. Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, no, that's a good progress to have this next-gen 911 system up and going, so.
Does anybody who ever lives on the periphery of the county line, like if I'm in Orvis or I'm in Monument and I call 911, who do I get? Do I get Center County, Clinton County, or same with if you live in the western half?
In Liberty Township, those calls go to Clinton County. And then a portion of Curtin also.
Yeah, well, I guess it just emphasizes the need to work together regionally to make sure that all the coordination of those addresses, because
Yep.
somebody in Clinton County has to know that they're actually calling somebody in Center County.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we share data back and forth with
Yeah.
our surrounding counties, so we have their data, they have ours, and it all aligns now and
Nice.
intersects.
So technology occasionally is a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And on a related note, I'll just give a shout out to the 911 alert system and the text messaging.
Oh, yes,
So
last
last night when there was a tornado warning, I think everybody in the, who was in your system got that blast of,
Yeah,
to let them know there was
they
tornado.
sent that out about 8:55, and it was our first real true launch of emergency.
Yeah.
Did we have a tornado?
Well, I do not believe so.
Well, that's good.
And call volume was relatively low, so.
It's pretty scary when you get a tornado
Yeah.
alert at 9 o'clock on,
Yeah.
at night. It's,
Although the sky was green,
Yeah.
it was not a happy color.
The outcome was good from this storm compared to the other
Yeah.
two we've recently had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're talking about 80-mile-an-hour winds, and that's
Yeah.
a pretty frightening, pretty frightening
Nice
event.
to be missed for once.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Then I will move to add the contract with 911 Authority to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with 911 Authority to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you, Norm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we have our illustrious Center County Prothonotary, Jeremy Breon, here with a very great contract with a wonderful rate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I come before the board this morning to ask for consider approval for the contract with Miller, Kistler, and Campbell to serve as conflict counsel for my office. This would be for Attorney John Loda. He would serve at the rate of $175 per hour. And this would not exceed the $10,000 contract that we already have approved with my solicitor, Helen Stolinas. So this would just be on a case-by-case basis. If Helen has to conflict out of a specific case where we need to have immediate answers, we need to have legal counsel that we can turn to. Again, this would not change anything with our current contract, and this would be out of the current Encompass $10,000 amount that we've already have approved. And we never exceed that
Yeah.
per year, so,
Great.
Thanks for that.
absolutely. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the contract.
Well, thanks for being thorough and negotiating a very good rate. Appreciate that. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I'll move to add the contract with Miller, Kistler, and Campbell to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Miller, Kistler, and Campbell to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Pose nay.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now we have, let's see, I think it's two different items for information technology, and Chad will cover them for us.
Yes, good morning. The first item to consider for approval is a CoStar contract with Moorfield to install an audio and visual system in the courthouse annex courtroom. The current system is incredibly outdated. We've been doing some sort of patchwork things on it for quite a few months now, just to have basic operations in there. So it's a much needed in much need of a modern AV system in that courtroom space. So we've done a lot of work with Moorfield over the years, so had a really good experience with them. The contract total for this new system would be $49,083.41, and they would probably be able to get started here in the next few weeks. So.
Great. Well, thank you, Chad. I know you have put a lot of work into trying to make something a little more affordable, get the job done in that room. But due to the size of the room and the very high ceilings, we just couldn't make any of these video conferencing in a box solutions like the OWL work.
Yes, the room provides challenges with
Yes.
it being so large. So Moorfield came up with a really good option for them. So.
And it's obviously important for the courts for everybody to be able to hear what's going on, for the court reporter to be able to record it properly, and for a lot of the more modern technology to be able to display it properly to the judge and the jury. Yeah. Commissioner Concepcion?
Thanks for all your work on this.
Most importantly, is it judge approved?
It is judge approved. That's the real reason I'm here. wanting to talk
Oh,
about
okay.
the treatment.
I presumed that it
Oh,
I thought you
was.
were here to support Ryan.
Always happy to talk about the treatment course. No, I was here to answer any questions. It's a lovely space. I think it's been in service.
Oh, could you get closer to the mic? She's
Sure.
having a little trouble picking
Sure,
up.
so
on
the
that.
courthouse annex, I believe, is finishing up its 20th year of being in service as a courtroom.
Right.
It was formerly a bank lobby.
Yeah.
It's a great reuse of a space, but it was never designed originally to be a courtroom, so it presents its challenges. So we believe this system will allow proper audio and video presentations. We're able to, save a lot of money by having people appear by video from remote facilities when they're picked up on bench warrants. Historically, our sheriffs would go out and pick them up, bring people here to appear in person in front of the judge, and then they walk out on the street and they may be trying to figure out how to get back to Philadelphia. So it allows us to do our business, saves money collectively, doesn't put people in a difficult situation. So it's a much-needed system. We've been trying to get by on what we've had for a while, and it was time to do this. So I appreciate the investment the county's making.
Thanks, and we appreciate your patience as we kept trying different options.
I understand it, it's a large expenditure, and we want to spend wisely, and when it would do the job, but do it for the most reasonable price we could get, so I appreciate that.
From a historical perspective, that courtroom actually had the first, and probably Gary can verify this, probably had the first and latest bunch of new technology for evidence presentation, et cetera. And it's funny how 20 years later, it's
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
the whole need for
Obsolete.
new technology has eclipsed all that, and we're
The
we're starting
projector on
over
the
again.
back, projector on the back wall looks like 3 or 4 pizza, was the size of 3 or 4 pizza boxes, large pizza
Yeah.
boxes
Right.
stacked up, mounted on an arm up there, and had seen its better day even when I became the judge occupying that courtroom 8 years ago, so
Glad that this is hopefully going to work out and make a success. of
I'm
your-
sure it
of your
will,
courtroom.
so. All right, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Judge Marshall.
Great, then I'll move to approve the contract with Moorfield.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Moorfield. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. And now you have an interesting contract, but I think it'll improve service to the community.
Yes, this is a contract addendum with Top Business Solution to expand our eFax services throughout the county. So we currently have 20 of our fax lines doing eFax. This contract addendum would add the remaining fax lines across the county, which gives much better access to faxes for departments that are able to get them through email and other type of venues as well, instead of just the traditional fax machine. So this expansion would be at a monthly cost of $1,115.29. There is a one-time setup fee, and the contract addendum total would be $14,203.47 for a period of 1 year.
And to explain that in more detail to the public, we still receive a lot of notifications by fax. Be nice if, especially the state government could.
Yes, it seems like outdated technology, but our departments, some of them get thousands of fax a month. So
Yes.
it's still a heavily relied on and needed service.
And then today, if that fax ends up in the wrong department because somebody used the wrong fax number, somebody in the incorrect department has to figure out who's supposed to see it, and then they need to send it by interoffice mail. So this will drastically improve speed of response.
Yes, and it'll give flexibility if someone's not in the office or standing by the fax machine to be able to go to a distribution group, and several people in the department will be able to see that immediately and take action on it if needed.
So a lot of programming behind the scenes with this.
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Concepcion?
No, that sounds like a good service for our needs.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I have to ask, who uses faxes?
Court offices use faxes a lot. A lot of our human service agencies use faxes quite a bit.
Yeah.
So,
Who would have known? I would
Yeah.
have thought that would have gone the way of the dodo by now, but, okay, all right, I guess if it's necessary. It seems like a lot of money for a program that,
Right. That's why I asked a lot of questions about
Yeah.
it during
Yep.
agenda review. Yeah.
all right, I guess we'll have more conversation. All right.
Okay. I'll move to add the contract with Top Business Solutions to next week's consent agenda.
We'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Top Business Solutions to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you, Chad.
thank you.
Thank you.
And now Dave is here to talk about the rate
Thanks, Judge.
increase for shared ride. Thanks, Judge.
Good morning.
So obviously a little more interest to the public now, especially in Bellefonte Borough.
Yes, well, good morning. I come and asked the board to consider approving a shared ride rate increase for fiscal year 25-26 that would start July 1st. Just to give you a little back history, we always submit our request to PennDOT for their approval before we formally come after a rate increase here. And the last one we did was 2 years ago. And last year, they backfilled us some funding to help offset some of the shortfalls. But with that funding starting to go away, they did approve our rate increase. We asked for a $2 per trip that equals approximately $150,000 in additional revenue based on trip numbers for the current fiscal year. So it's still a little bit short of our average fare cost. And trust me, we're much closer than most agencies within the state. Some of them are as high as $10 per trip at a shortfall, and it's really becoming a problem. Hopeful that the state will come up with more funding for transit for these people, but we're much closer than that, and just continue to chip away at it and try to bring it to more of an equal break-even point for us. But as you know, we do 75,000 plus trips a year, and well, it may not sound like a lot to a big city area, but for rural Center County, it is a lot of trips, and the people really depend on it. So we're thankful that the board is supportive of transit and providing transportation for the individuals.
And would like to thank you and your staff for the 70-plus mile distance. There's actually no points in Center County that are 70 miles apart.
No.
I believe that is primarily for trips to Danville.
Correct.
And Geisinger.
Yes. Yes.
Which the county does not have to offer, but obviously every couple of weeks we
Yep.
have someone who needs to go to Danville and has no easy way of getting there.
One of the things that I've prided myself on over the years is being able to do those trips, and the board giving us the approval to do that for the necessity of people that have no family and no other way to get there. And it has served a purpose in several occasions. We do sometimes a couple a month, sometimes we don't. But when the need is there, it's nice to be able to meet that need and at least come close to covering our cost of operation for those trips. So yes.
Obviously, in those cases, you need a little bit more notice
Oh,
than
yes.
business day before.
Yep. They usually they're a couple weeks ahead. They're planned out. But as you know yourself, sometimes getting into doctors is a long wait, and,
Yep.
Right.
and just finding a way there oftentimes is a big issue with people. And it's very rewarding to my staff and to myself included that we can do those trips because of the board giving us that ability. Yes.
We appreciate the extra effort for the citizens.
Yep. Thank you.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Concepcion, comments or questions?
Yeah, no, I think, this is such an important service, and especially with the decrease in the extent of CATA.
Yes.
People really rely on county transportation.
Thank you.
So,
Dave, can you speak to eligibility?
Eligibility, there's various tiers of eligibility, of course. Medical assistance is one of our major funding sources. That's mostly a lot of federal money handed down to the state through the Department of Welfare. The PennDOT is lottery funded for both senior citizens 65 and over and persons with disabilities 18 to 60. In Center County, we are still fortunate and one of the few in the state that offer senior status at 60 to 64. So our Office of Aging, through the support of the commissioners, pays that transportation for somebody that's 60 to 64. They fund that 100%. So that being said, people in Center County have a good, nice little cushion there when you reach age 60. And of course, if you have no funding source, it can be a little costly, but even still, it's oftentimes cheaper than the price of an Uber or taxi or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, 98% of our trips are funded in some way. Our general public fare that people actually pay 100% is very minimal right now, so, yes.
So what's the age limit for shared ride? Can a 30-year-old?
Oh, no, anybody.
Anybody at all can do it?
Anybody can ride, absolutely, yes, yes. Yeah, we're doing a medical assistance-funded summer camp right now in Phillipsburg, taking 5 kids for a morning camp. Some are 6 years old, so they come out with their little car seat, get on the van, and off they go, and we take them to their facility for their camp and back home. And there's not near as many now, but there was a point where we were doing 80 to 100 trips a day for camps back 10, 12 years ago. They've not been quite as opportunistic for the kids, but still there, and it's fun. The kids are good kids. We have no issues with those little ones, and but yeah, the age limit, there's really no age limit.
So this distance, is this round trip or is it?
No, that's one way.
One way.
These are one way,
So,
correct.
like, for instance, to go to Danville would be then $150?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So I understand how this works.
Yes, so we bill that rate as that, and of course, if you had to pay it, it would cost you out of pocket, but, yeah, most of those trips are usually funded in some way. And then with medical assistance, they often will help fund the co-pays. So that helps a little bit in the fact that if you have medical assistance and you're a senior, and we take you on a medical trip, we bill the 85% to PennDOT and the other 15% medical assistance pays. So our Office of Aging doesn't have to absorb that cost on certain trips. So it does help a little bit, yeah.
But if, for example, you needed to go from, I don't know, Phillipsburg to Blanchard.
Yep.
First of all, I'm not quite sure you can even find an Uber to do that for you. And if you did, it would probably run quite a bit more than
Oh,
our
yes.
charges.
Yes, yep, yep.
Obviously, you're going from one side of State College to the other, just call Uber.
Yes. Yeah, we have various trips actually from Penns Valley to Phillipsburg for dental work and various doctors. They're within the county, and it's unfortunate for the people that the only place they have a physician that will see them is that distance away, so.
They're in short supply.
Yeah, and we can often combine those trips where a driver from down the valley will bring them to State College and meet another driver and take them the rest of the way. We have that ability to do that, and it helps a lot sometimes. Because if you leave Aaronsburg to go to Phillipsburg, it's a good hour plus or more, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And it's a long distance, so it's helpful to be able to combine those trips amongst drivers, yes.
Any questions from the press for?
Dave, explain your budget situation, because someone will look at this, what they've taken on the Bellefonte area and the raising rates.
Well, it's all about our total budget picture where, we plan our budget out for each year, and normally there's always a gap there where we need support and help to bridge that gap. Fortunately, Center County Commissioners have always taken on that responsibility, but it's just trying to be more cost-effective in the fact of, offering a service for the least amount of money possible to the residents of Center County. And,
Are there some of your ride services where you are mandated to provide that service?
yeah, in some ways, yes, but not really. I mean, quite honestly, this is an initiative of the Center County Board of Commissioners that we provide transportation. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, Gary, the contract that Dave is working on is with the Borough of Bellefonte, not the Bellefonte area, which is substantially larger. Yes.
Yeah, that's, we're working on that, and more to come, just getting all the i's dotted and
Yep.
t's crossed, and meeting and determining. We were able to look at a customer-based list that helped us a lot with identifying people that already have our services. So that in itself will help Bellefonte in a sense, where it may cut down on their outlay of funding going down the road, so, yeah.
All right, then I will move to approve the shared ride rate increase for fiscal year 25-26.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the shared ride rate increase for fiscal year 25-26. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think we have a medium-sized consent agenda for the day.
Okay, I'll move to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. We've got a check run dated June 6th.
Yeah,
Commissioner Concepcion.
So the checks that I would like to highlight today are payments to our election workers from the primary election.
Yes.
It's not a very large payment that people earn for working elections, but it's, we want to make sure that we're compensating people for their time, but we're really grateful for everyone who offers to provide those services to the voters in Center County. And every year at election, or every twice a year at election time, we're always looking for people who are interested in working elections, whether sometimes some work in the office or, most often at the polling places. So, and with that, I will move to approve the check run dated June 6, 2025.
I will second
We
that.
have a motion and a second to approve the check run dated June 6th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. John, is there administrator's report today?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right. And do we have a voter's registration?
Not yet.
Still too close to
Yeah,
the election?
they're
All
still,
right.
yeah.
All right, and under announcements, the Center County government offices will be closed on Thursday, June 19th, in observance of Juneteenth. Do we have any executive sessions to report or hold, John?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
All right. Moving on to the public meeting schedule, we do have the Employee Benefits Trust meeting today at 2. And then on Thursday, the 12th, we have a combined salary board and board of commissioners meeting at 10 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, June 17th, the board of commissioners meeting at 10. And now Gary and Tim's favorite time, questions from the press.
Are the spring primary results finalized?
We did certify the official results last week.
How did the polling pads work?
The poll pads?
Yeah.
We heard really good feedback on them, so we're planning to roll those out at the rest of the polling places this fall.
Thank you.
Questions, Gary? Anything from Tim?
Yeah, I was wondering, with the Eagle Creek project, were you able to get that grant for funding?
Well, I think we have it moving along. The difficulty is at this point, Congress is potentially looking at eliminating the entire community development block grant program. So, yes, we would love to have that funded. We're pushing for it. We're trying to burn some political, actually are burning some political capital with the state to try to keep that on the list. But unfortunately, if the community development block grant program is ended, then that source of funds will disappear.
And have you heard anything from Homeland Security?
I don't think we have, no, haven't heard anything. Still perplexed.
All right, thank you.
In talking to GT last week, he kind of echoed what you guys were saying. He thought it was a mix-up with the status of the prison, or whatever. Are there any other federal, that put the county on the list, are there any other policies you're reviewing right now in terms of possible violations of federal policies?
We're not aware of any, but we'd be happy to have dialogue with the federal government on the topic. At this point, we've heard nothing.
At this point, I think it's safe to say that, we're waiting for them to tell us what it is that they'd like to see us do, because I'm not quite clear. We don't have a contract with the federal government to house prisoners, and I don't know if that might be part of the angst or not, but we don't have a contract with the state either. I mean, we house primarily county folk, and
The county being on the list as being a mistake, and he thought it was confusion over.
yeah, there's a difference between not having a contract and considering that maybe something that we should have with something, maybe confusing that with, again, the requirement that we have one, which I'm not aware of any.
Yeah, most counties don't have those types of contracts.
They're voluntary.
It's a voluntary program.
And just so it's appreciated maybe a little closer, when you have a contract with the federal government to house federal inmates, the inspection process, the bureaucratic paperwork is pretty extensive.
Yes.
And that's another concern, that we have, because, You know, we really are not in a position to house inmates that we're not qualified to house. So,
And there's also the additional risk with federal inmates. They really, in general, don't have much of a tie to the community, so they're much more likely to sue and cause other issues.
And I'll also add, layer on to that, we do have some limitations in our staffing right now, and we're very cognizant of that when it comes to opening pods and expanding our capability of accepting and keeping inmates.
Thank you.
Thanks. Unless there's anything else from the press, I think we could take a motion to adjourn at 11.
I'll move to adjourn.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn at 11. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Thanks, everyone, for watching.